So, last time we spoke about the trip across. Now, I was going to ask you about prior to coming. So, what were the conditions like in England or Great Britain prior to you and the family leaving?
Well, the main reason for us to leave was because it was very hard for Joe to get work.
Yes.
He had various jobs, but working in England, painting in the winter time, not good. Eric and I had been going to come to Australia, and we went for our tests and everything that you have to have.
Oh, what tests?
To come to Australia.
Oh, like written tests and what?
No, medical.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
You have to take all of the family with you to see some person there, Of course, we made a mistake, and they hadn't said to take all of the children, and we didn't take Tarina. And anyway, it was all right, because we could prove that we hadn't been told to take all of the children. That was an awful day.
Oh, describe that day. Describe that day.
It was hot. It was sticky, I had a twin stroller for Jeremy and Julia, but one of the wheels had broken. I was still waiting for it to be delivered, so I had a single one, and I think Jeremy was in that, and Joe carried Julia, and we had to get a train to Gateshead. Which we did, and then we got off and had to walk up this hill, and it was just really hot and uncomfortable.
And you're pushing kids.
Yes.
Poppy's carrying her, Aunt Julia. Oh my gosh.
Yes. I think all this stroller kept breaking down anyway. So in the end, Joe just abandoned it. We walked the rest of the way, and saw the interview, and asked what we wanted to ask, and just general stuff. And then we came home. But there was another one, there were medicals for us. But of course this was before Eric died. So it wasn't Jeremy and Julie, it would have been Stephen and Tarina. No, it wouldn't, because Tarina wasn't even born then. Anyway,
that's okay, yeah.
We started the medicals, and Eric was told to go and have another medical, and which he did. And at about the same time, I went to the doctor with Stephen. He was only little, and the doctor, I'd taken Stephen for some childish thing, and he said, you're going to have to be prepared. You're going to be a very young widow. And I didn't know anything about this. I knew Eric had been to this report. Obviously the doctor had the result of it. And I was just left like, imagine you'd been standing there with a baby of about 18 months or whatever.
Pregnant with another one.
Yes. And what did you say about another one?
Oh, you were pregnant with Aunt Julia, Aunt Tarina.
Yes, about that time, yes.
Yeah.
But I know I had to walk home. Stephen was in the pram, and we lived in Springfield, and it was quite nice from where the doctor's was, the shops and everything, across all of these fields. They used to say, the cow said moo and all that stuff, talking. And I couldn't say anything to Eric. It was a little while, and then he came home very quiet and down one day. Eric wasn't like that. He was always just the same, you know. Anyway, there was a letter came to say that they don't turn you down directly. They just say, well, you can try again, you know. So that was it. And then I couldn't say anything. When Eric was younger, when he was about 21, he was very ill. And he was in hospital, and they didn't expect him to live. And he knew that. But then they started to give him penicillin, and he just changed. You know, worked really well, because penicillin was in very early days then. When Eric had been ill, his mother used to, you know, plead with stuff from, she used to make a big thing of it. Oh, he has to have chicken. You know, he has to have chicken. And she cut all the chicken. And then one day, he was coming home from work. He was walking with a stick then. And one of the neighbours said, oh, he should look good, all the chicken chance to get for him and all, you know. And he came in the house and he threw the stick on the floor and he says, don't get me any more chickens, you know. And anyway, he sort of recovered. That was before I'd met him. When I did meet him, I was totally in love with him. I was really keen, and he asked me out. 2 or 3 times I've met him, and I thought, what's wrong with him? You know, what's wrong with me? And then this was not nice. The boss at head office, which was where Eric worked, spoke to my boss of Sunderland and said he wanted me to work there because I've been doing sales and typewriting and whatever, you know. And so I played it carefully until I got a nice rise as well. And then went to the Christmas party, and there was a young guy in the Sunderland office who'd been asking me out, and he was the last person on earth, you know. And I said, asked him if he was going to the Christmas party, which really was a pretty pathetic Christmas party. It was just everybody sitting around the table having, you know, cups of tea and a cake or something. And anyway, when it was finished, I hadn't even spoken to him, you know. And I waited downstairs, and this Jimmy said, well, shall we go now? Where shall we go? And I said, oh, I'll just think of something on the train, you know. And he said, oh, okay. So we stood outside looking at the typewriter window. And then all the guys came out of the side door, and they were all going across the road to the pub, except Eric, who didn't drink. And he was separate from the, you know.
He didn't drink?
Just didn't like it.
Oh! I don't like to drink.
You know, my mum thought he was designed to be her son-in-law.
Oh.
But she didn't drink. They didn't drink. They were, didn't smoke, didn't gamble, and he was a really nice guy. And anyway, as we were looking in this window, the guys came out of the side door, walked across the road, and I said, "Oh, there's Eric. I wonder if he goes our way." couldn't believe it, you know. He says, "Hey, Eric, we're going past the station." I said, "Yes." So I walked along with the two of them. And when we got to the station, Eric said, "Well, do you fancy going to see a movie?" I said, "Oh, yes." Jimmy's face. Honestly, you wouldn't believe it. And he looked like a stunt mullet, you know, so I walked over there. And I mean, I was thinking, this is great, I've got my wish, you know. And anyway, he didn't speak to me for several weeks. But Eric and I started going out there for a while.
Do you remember your first date? Do you remember your first date with Eric?
That was it.
That was your first date. What about your second date?
The second date was the following week. He was going to a party for one of the guys at work, and he asked me if I'd like to go as well. So I did, but that was in Gateshead, so I had to get the bus through there. I just kept going out with him for a while, and then eventually I was asked to meet his parents, and yes, and then the following week his sister asked me if I'd like to go and stay at her place for the next weekend. And I mean, I had the most awkward father, really. And I thought, well, I better go and meet his parents before I say I'm, going to stay there. And so that was it. And just went out with him for quite a while. But I was the only girl in the office. The boss was usually out on the road, and there was just the mechanics and So one of them came and he was talking to me one day. He just didn't want to work really, and I sort of started questioning him about the guys in the
workshop
thing, and didn't say anything about Eric for the first time. I got him on a few others, and then he said that Eric had been very well, had been ill, and he was concerned that he still wasn't right because sort of a blue tinge to his cheeks. But he was a big guy, and really well built. And then eventually we got married and had Stephen, and we moved to Darlington. And his job that he offered him was crap. I mean, he wasn't worldly wise to be, know what they were up to. And we decided to try for Australia. But the doctor had told me he wouldn't live more than 3 years. But actually he only lived for 2. But then after that I married Joel.
How did you and Poppy meet?
How do I meet?
Yes.
Through work.
Through work? Oh wow.
He was a mechanic at head office, and I was the office staff in the branch office.
Yes.
In Sunderland, yes.
And did he ask you out, or?
Yes, he did.
Oh.
He has been listening.
But he asked you out. Oh, Poppy.
Yes.
And did he open all the doors and pull out your chair for you? Yes, fantastic.
Yes. And everyone who met him from home, Mum's parents were there. Oh, he's so nice.
Yes.
Oh, he's so nice. Anyway, it was a while after that I met Joe, and I talked about coming to Australia, which I knew nothing about, just what Eric had said. It was good. We eventually married and had Jeremy and Julia. Yes. And then that was when they were little. I said, why not try for Australia? And never to be forgotten. He says, but the beer's no good and the horse is
Poppy.
But he said anyway, yes. And then we came and we stayed with Ruby,
Yes.
Eric's oldest sister. Hello. When I have to copy, it's awful.
It's terrible, isn't it?
Yes.
I get told that all the time.
Yes. No, well, I'll just have some water here. Okay.
They're taking good care of you there.
Oh, yes.
Good.
So we came over here and it was on the Sky. I can't remember the name of it, but it was pretty awful, you know. We didn't have toilets in the cabins, we had to use the public toilets, and lots of sickness and
Oh, really?
yes. So then we stayed with Ruby for a while. Fairly quickly we bought a house, and it was quite a nice little house. But it was hard work, really.
So, when you first arrived, you both were working, or how did you? Poppy was just working, and you were looking after the kids, or how did you?
Yes.
How did you manage?
Yes. Well, fortunately, he was working for Firestone.
Oh, fantastic!
And he was getting good wages.
Good.
Yeah.
And how far do you have to?
He was having to travel into the city.
Oh, wow!
Yes, and I mean, Walter was a nice guy, but he was all, you know, we'll do this for you, we'll do that for you. And the first he started work, they took him into the city and said, oh, well, you go over there, kind of thing. Honestly.
No instruction, no direction, no training, no induction, nothing.
I think it was for the GPO then.
Wow.
It was a huge one in the city. And he walked round the place trying to find an entry. Anyway, he didn't stay there very long. But we just worked and did without and
Now,
gradually brought things that we needed.
when did you move to Blacktown?
No, we bought a house in Seven Hills.
Ah, Seven Hills. Seven
A
Hills.
new house, but it was only 3 bedrooms, so you know.
Oh, small.
Yes. In fact, compared to houses now, I had one cupboard. There were kitchen cupboards, but had one cupboard in the hallway, which Joe took over for his tins of paint. You know.
Now, your first TV, was it black and white or colour?
It was black and white.
Okay. And how long?
Joe sent it back.
Oh,
Because the guy who delivered it rolled it up the whole of the pathway.
oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, he didn't know.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the company sends one guy out to deliver a television. It was their fault.
Oh my gosh. Oh. So, now a car. What was your first car?
It was, oh gee.
Peugeot?
We paid $200 for it.
Ooh. But that would have been a lot of money back then.
Yes.
How many months worth of wage was that saving up, or years?
Oh dear, I don't know. At Firestone, I think Joe was getting a reasonably good wage, and then there were also perks like
Cheaper cars.
you could steal his shoes
Oh.
from Firestone. And the children had all Wellingtons and and raincoats and that kind of thing. And I can't remember what we did after that.
So, what was the biggest difference you noticed when you first came out here?
Well, the heat, obviously.
Yes.
And we didn't have a car to go out in, you know. We just had to go on the bus or the train or whatever.
Or walk.
Yes.
A lot of walking.
Bit hot for walking.
Yeah.
Stephen, I took Stephen to the grammar school, and they said no, he's too young. He doesn't fit the age criteria. The only way he can get into grammar school is if you take him to some place in Parramatta and he fits some exams for the education.
Oh wow!
And if he does all right in that, you get in, and then when he came out, the man said he's going to do very well. And of course, then he went to grammar school, and we were only there about 3 or 4 months when we bought this house, and it was hard work. It was really,
yes.
I mean, I found, not long ago, I found the bank statement book, and what this cost us, I can't remember, I'd have to look up at the book, and yeah, and we were there for, maybe 3 or 4 I don't know, months or years.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
We got the other house, which was in Blacktown.
Blacktown, yes, that's the one I remember.
Yes. I also remember a lot of us being at the house, and Sarah was only a toddler, and a lot of the family were in the front room, and your mum and I were in the kitchen. And Sarah would go trotting from one to the other, you know. And then I looked out of the window onto the driveway, and there's Sarah toddling down the street.
Oh my gosh!
Towards the road.
Oh! Oh gosh! That would have been a Christmas or something of that, maybe an Easter or something, yeah.
Yes.
We had some amazing Christmases there.
Oh,
thank you.
Yes.
But Nana, I'll just check that you're okay though. Does anyone from the family know that you've fallen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But does Aunt Tarina or I shouldn't worry them or?
Oh no, they know.
Okay, cool.
Actually, Joe was talking to Julia on the phone when I fell.
Oh no! Oh!
She rang Tarina straight away.
Oh gosh. Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad to hear all okay. Well,
yes.
Do you mind if I call you a bit later this afternoon at, say, 5 o'clock?
Well, visiting time is between 4 and 5.
Oh, so after that then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
I'll
Okay.
hope, I'll chat to you then. I won't take up too much of your time now. I'll let you rest up. And thank you so much for recalling all those great memories.
That's all right. I mean, I suppose a lot of things you forget, but a lot of things are just burned into my, conscience. Anyway.
Well, sending you lots of love. Hi, Poppy. I know his TV's probably up, so he can't hear me. But send him my love, and I will chat to you both later.
Okay.
Love you.
And when I get home and get the typewriter, I'll send you those other
No rush.
sections.
No rush. But thank you so much for your time, Nana.
All right.
Love you lots.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Love you.